All the streets are named after dead children. What's up guys, it's Cynth and thank you so much for checking out this video. So I was at a party the other day where somebody told me about the urban legend of Japanese children killing themselves after listening to the high-pitched notes in the Lavender Town music. So that made me want to research more urban legends when I got home, which made me want to make a video about it, and this is that video. Please like for this very clear description of how this video came to be. I know you deeply care about this information. So I did a quick Google search and ended up on this 100% reliable, totally accurate website, which states that more people are afraid of dolls than clowns, ghosts, and belly buttons. It's true. Creepy dolls is basically its own movie genre, so there's no surprise that there is an urban legend, probably more than one, involving a doll. So the first urban legend I want to tell you guys about is the story of the OKIKU doll. Ever felt like buying a doll for your little sister or brother or grandmother or attorney for that matter? Just gotta hope they don't die and possess the doll. According to this legend, that's what happened when Akichi Toyoda bought a doll for his 2-year-old sister OKIKU. She loved it and played with it every day, but since urban legends are rarely happy, surprise surprise, the girl died. Now understandably, the Honda family was heartbroken, so they made a little shrine for her with her beloved doll at the center of it all. Now comes the creepy part. The doll's hair started to grow and continued to grow. The only possible explanation for this is that the young girl had taken over the doll's body so she could stay close to her family. That's creepy AF. It's actually not creepy at all because it's not true. Seriously, I don't believe this one for a second, but I still find it an interesting story. I think I would have been more intrigued if dolls actually creep me out. That being said, this is actually one of the creepiest dolls I have ever seen in my entire life. In fact, this doll is so creepy that it's actually more believable that the doll killed little OKIKU Daihatsu and absorbed her soul than it is that the girl died and somehow inhabited the doll. The hair has been analyzed and is confirmed to be real human hair, but that in itself doesn't really prove anything because real human hair is used for dolls all the time, even back then. But what makes this urban legend interesting is that it doesn't stop with a 1920s family desperately pretending their daughter is still with them. At this very moment, there's a group of monks running a temple actively keeping the legend alive. When the Nissan family moved, they couldn't bring the doll. There was really no room left after packing the furniture, or musical instruments, or cell phone adapters. But they also didn't feel like just getting rid of her. So they gave it to a local temple where the OKIKU doll remains today. The monks claim the hair still grows despite them frequently trimming it. Do you buy this shit? Do you want to buy this shit because creepy dolls intrigue you? Do you want to forget this shit because creepy dolls creep you the fuck out? Drop a comment. So here's an urban legend that actually turned out to be true. Think back to every haunted house you've ever visited, or better yet, every Halloween decoration you've ever seen. What if you were unknowingly looking at a real human? No, I'm not talking about the Delaware woman who committed suicide that people thought was a Halloween prank for hours. That's not an urban legend, that's just a batshit news story. I'm talking about ELMER McCurdy, an incompetent train robber from Oklahoma who died in a police shootout over $46. Since ELMER was a bandit, and a shitty one at that, his family never claimed his body. So he was sent to some random funeral home where the owner decided to embalm him and put him on display. Some versions of this story even claim that the funeral home owner charged people a penny to come look at ELMER. They had to put it in his mouth. I'm not actually going to do that, that's disgusting. I was going to try and make a joke about how he retrieved them, but I don't really want to think about it. Within years, word got around and his family tracked him down to take him home for a proper funeral. It wasn't even his family. It was the Carnival that wanted to put him on display as the Oklahoma Outlaw. From that point, ELMER's mummified body was passed from Carnival to museum to Carnival, and that's how he lost the last of his humanity. You know how sometimes a joint gets passed around at a party and at some point it's gonna end up with someone who doesn't know who rolled it in the first place? Yeah, me neither, but that's kind of what happened here. People managed to forget it was a real person at one point, and in 1971, note this is 60 years after he died, he was sold to a wax museum as a mannequin. It wasn't until 5 years later, in 1976, when one of the crew members from a TV show called $6 Million Man broke off an arm when they were shooting at Pike Amusement Park in Long Beach, California. When they saw human bone inside of it, they alarmed the authorities, and Elmer's second life finally came to an end. When he was placed in his final resting place, they actually poured concrete over his casket so nobody would try to grave rob him. While I doubt every detail of Elmer's post-mortem exhibition adventure is true, it is still a creepy story that's stranger than fiction. Also makes me wonder how he was handled for 60 years and nobody damaged it, and then this one guy from a TV show just knocks off an arm. What if that hadn't happened? How do you think Elmer felt about all of this? I mean, on one hand it could be seen as degrading, but on the other hand it could have given him like some sense of immortality. Anyway, I think the story is pretty cool, so that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay guys, so believe it or not, death by wedgie is actually a thing that has happened. I mean, it sounds like a shitty Jake Paul clickbait prank, but it's actually a legit news story from Oklahoma. I mean, I don't know if this is funny or not. I mean, it's funny that somebody died, but it is definitely more lighthearted than the possessed doll and a real life mannequin. Apparently this kid was so fed up with his stepdad bitching him around that he yanked up his underwear and got it over his head somehow, and then the poor man died when the elastic band suffocated him when it was put around his neck. What the fuck? I would even imagine someone toppling over from the force of the wedgie and then breaking their neck as they hit the ground would be more likely to happen than this. Now back to actual urban legends. This is my favorite one I found, so I want to share it with you guys. Sharing is caring. I almost care as much about you as these dead children trying to save your life. This urban legend is way too easily debunkable, but I'm pretending it's real because it's more interesting that way. And depending on which story you read, somewhere in the 1930s or 1940s, a bunch of children died as a train crashed into their school bus. No such accident ever occurred in San Antonio. This legend was probably inspired by an actual school bus train crash in Salt Lake City in 1938. And while that was tragic, it's not as tragic as the idea of a bunch of ghost children endlessly roaming the area, pushing cars off the tracks so nobody would suffer the same fate as they did. There's multiple versions of the story, but my favorite one is that the bus driver was the only one who survived. Driven by the guilt. It's funny. Driven by the guilt, the bus driver parked her car on the train tracks and waited for a train to kill her. But get this, the little ghost children, being the caring souls that they are, didn't want anybody else to die, so they pushed her car off the tracks. Lucky bitch. For some reason, maybe the reason is I'm a psychopath, I love the story of a gang of ghost children rescuing unfortunate souls who find themselves standing still on the train tracks. However, science ruins the narrative. What has kept this legend alive is that you can actually go to the spot. It'll feel like your car is being pushed uphill, but it's actually downhill. This is called a gravity hill. It's downhill, but due to an optical illusion, your brain lies to you and convinces you you're going uphill. But you're not. As awesome as it sounds, dead children trying to help you stay alive is not the reason your car is moving. It only works if you put your car in neutral, and what makes this urban legend even more fun for people is that when you put baby powder on the back of your car, you will actually find fingerprints from the little ghost saviors, obviously. To this day, it's a spot people love to visit, but some of the train tracks have been removed to try to reduce dangerous situations and obnoxious tourists. I really wish this was some creepy story that couldn't be explained, but unfortunately I live in the real world and urban legends are usually nothing more than just that. To end this video, I have a very quick urban legend that's actually one of my favorites. Fuck. No, I'm not cursing, it's just an acronym. Once upon a time, couples weren't allowed to have sex whenever they wanted, so they had to get permission from the king. When permission was granted, they'd have to put a sign on their window. Fornication under the consent of the king. The whole street would know they were fucking. Seriously though, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm a new YouTuber and you know, at the beginning it's always kind of hard. So if you leave a like for this video, I will appreciate it so much. Like I cannot put into words how much I appreciate it when people subscribe to my channel.